ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिस्सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामभित्र्यवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम्. Most revered elders, dearest sisters and brothers, with collective offering and pranams at the lotus feet of our Veda Mata, Veda Purusha, Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba, thank you to each and every one of you for being present this evening, virtually and spiritually. It's so wonderful to come together, to dwell on the infinite glories of these eternal echoes, the divine whispers from the Lord, from the source, which are known as the Vedas. Tonight, we kickstart this wonderful series, which is known as VedaRasa, the juice, the nectar, the divine ambrosial fragrance. When we think of a Ferrero Rocher, that lovely chocolate, it has a golden wrapper, it's got various other layers, and eventually there's that beautiful core layer, which is that Nutella, sweetest part of all. In the same way, the Vedas have a literal meaning, and then deeper meanings, figurative meanings, metaphorical meanings, and then the quintessential heart-to-heart meaning. As they say that in the depths of silence, the voice of the divine can be heard. And Vedas is known as Shruti, that which is heard. So tonight, we will get a beautiful kaleidoscopic expression and inner meaning of the ideas and the philosophies contained in a beautiful verses of the Vedas from Krishna Yajurveda, known as the Sri Rudram, by a wonderful divine soul, Brother Nathan Naika. Brother Nathan Naika not only chants the Vedas, he verily lives the Vedas, as the Vedas is his profession, vocation, and passion as a Vedic astrologer. He goes out of his way to look at the inner divine sweetness of each syllable. As Swami says, that each syllable in the Vedas is like a lighthouse guiding the spiritual aspirant along the royal road towards self-realization. So we need not be like Sage Agastya and drink the entire ocean. Even just a few droplets, we can understand and encapsulate the beautiful fragrance and sweetness of the Vedas. So tonight, Brother Nathan will take us on a wonderful Veda voyage. I hope you'll be able to fasten your seatbelts, and we'll go on a journey together. Brother Nathan also in the AI technological space for the financial industries. And tonight he'll also give an understanding of a different AI known as Adhyatmic intelligence, Atma intelligence, and authentic intelligence, which asks the questions, who am I, where am I from, to where am I going? So without further ado, we'll hand over to Brother Nathan, and he will speak for the first session, and at about 45 minutes time, we'll have a 10-minute question and answer session. So please do ask the questions if you've joined on Zoom in the chat box, and then Brother Nathan will be able to answer them. And then we'll conclude for tonight's satsang. Thank you so much. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, Brother Kabir. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I just want to check the sound is working fine.
Sai Ram, brother. Yes, sounds very good, and we can see you as well.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you.
Let me share my screen. And yes. Speaking about the Sri Rudram, this has, I guess, been a session long in the making. It's not something that I anticipated actually happening. Rudram came into my life about 10 years ago when I was at a crossroads. And, you know, when everything seems to be going well, but nothing really is there's no fulfillment with things. Work is fine and progressing. Material life is really working out very well. And yet there's a lack of sense of self, and there's a lack of sense of direction. And I suppose in your 20s, everyone goes through that. But it was my good fortune that at that time, I stumbled upon a YouTube chanting of Rudram. And then that started the journey of going and learning Rudram at that time, 10 years ago, just by watching the videos available on Swami's, the Satya Sai organization platform. And that started the journey of Rudram, and it hasn't stopped. It has really improved the quality of my life. I can definitely say that. And actually, I think turned it around. So for me to talk about Rudram and share a little bit of what I know from the experience of chanting it and studying it and exposing myself to so many great gurus and acharyas, their commentaries, their wisdom, discourses, etc. There's so much information available on the internet, and yet, even as late as last year, new insights keep coming. So I hope I will be able to inspire you in your chanting of Rudram, in your appreciation, at least, of Vedic culture and literature, and maybe connect some dots for you as well. I'll begin with the Guru Mantra in honor of all the teachers and wisdom that flows to us from this Kailasha. Om Gurave Nama. 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 I first want to just mention something from the practical side of the Vedas. There's 3 portions of the Vedas in how we aim to understand it and what to do with it. We always have that question, well, I am reading this chart, I've read the translations, I'm reading Upanishads and I've read the translations, and so now what? Okay, becomes the question. And the ancient rishis had the same questions. And based upon their understanding of human life and how life works in general, they came up with 3 methods of extracting and using the knowledge from the Veda. Firstly, you have the Karma Kanda, which is about, rituals. It's about pujas. It's about physical things you can do in your space to create a harmonious vibration, or a vibration that is fit for some specific purpose, to aid us in arranging physical life and material life by using precise stepwise processes like a puja or a homa or a yajna or something, to create and connect, to create a connection point, to create a place where you can go. And just by virtue of being in that area, by being in that space and at that time, being fully involved in that, you are able to benefit. That is Karma Kanda, and the priests need to be trained very well in that, because one of the places where this happens a lot is in temples. Then we have Upasana Kanda, this second picture showing Sri Hanuman, who's a great bhakta of Sri Rama. Upasana Kanda. Well, how do I use that to worship in the sense of I am worshipping and directing now all of my energy towards something higher? I am uplifting myself. Like in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, there's a verse, I think 5. Uddharedatmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet yatmeva bandhuratmanam atmeva ripuratmanaha. So we must uplift ourselves. Uddharedatmanatmanam. We must uplift ourselves by this higher self, by having this higher objective for ourselves. Whether that's in work life or relationships or spiritual life, that's something very important. Upasana Kanda is the direction towards an object that is fit for our direction and focus. And the best way to do that, the best thing is towards something that is divine. So Upasana generally means worship, but it also has other implications as well. And the Vedas, the same thing in the Vedas, can also be used in this manner for this purpose. Then there is the Jnana Kanda, which is about knowledge and wisdom, right? And knowing things, okay? And we can also use the Vedas to understand life, to increase our knowledge, especially the knowledge of ourselves, in relation to the divine, and especially of our knowledge of the divine. And eventually all of them come together. So the Veda, a very simple definition of Veda, is that which is all three together. The hand with the Karma Kanda, the heart with the Upasana Kanda, and the head with the Jnana Kanda. So we have organizations in the country, Sai Organization, Divine Life Society, Ramakrishna Mission, Chinmaya Mission. They are all attempting to give us an idea of Upasana Kanda and the Jnana Kanda. But to really be Vedic, all three must be working in harmony. Then it is Veda. Then it is I'm doing something worthy with my hand. I'm having something worthwhile occupying my heart. And my knowledge, my thinking, my cognition and understanding is uplifting into a higher dimension as well. That is Veda. That is a Vedic lifestyle. So in short, Upanishads and all that, Upanishads are there to understand Jnana Kanda, full of questions about that. Veda said this, what does that mean? What does it not mean? Cross-referencing. Upanishads are all about bringing out the Brahmana aspect of the Vedas. Brahmana meaning sort of expert knowledge in a general translation of the word. So Rudram is a very special piece of the Veda because it can be used for all three. Many of you may have sat for the Ati Rudram and have gone through that process, which is very good. And I'm so happy that that has been facilitated for us after all these years. We can talk about Veda, we can talk about these things. Okay, 20 years ago, talking about these things was like talking a different language. So the priests who are running Karma Kanda should be properly trained and maintain those spaces and rituals properly. But you can also have those little homas you can do at home. Agnihotra is one of them. Okay. Upasana Kanda, this is something you do as well. How to maintain that. Japa, Kirtan, all of that falls under Upasana Kanda. And then Jnana Kanda, you should get information. The texts are readily available. You should read them and try to understand them and discuss them. So this is a small request from me that we aim the community towards the unification of these three in a harmonious manner, and that is Veda. Aim of the Veda. When we talk about Rudra, just checking the time. When we talk about Rudra, we have to talk about Brahma, fortunately or unfortunately. The story of the birth of Rudra is in a couple of Puranas. Vishnu Purana, Devi Bhagavatam also has it. And basically, I'm going to just go through the story a little bit because we understanding Brahma's attitude and what happened to Brahma in this whole fiasco helps us understand ourselves in the perspective of Brahma in this story. So imagine you are occupying the role of Brahma in the story, and then we will understand Rudra from that. So, who is Brahma? So, Brahma is, we say, the creator. That is partly true. As he also found out, it is not completely true. Okay? Brahma is that creative. Think about the ability to create. Imagine there's a being out there in the cosmic creation that has the job of creating things, not just from one part of their body, but from every single pore of their body, can create universes. Such a being exists, according to Shastra. And that position can be occupied by different souls, different classes, different beings. Brahma is a title, and Brahma has a birth and a death and all that. Okay? Typically, when you see in TV and all that, Brahma is shown as very old man, grandfather, right? People say Pitamaha. However, actually, Brahma is very youthful in countenance, very strong, very virile, because it's a creative energy we are talking about at an extreme level of concentration. The whole being is all about that. He just is old. He just is ancient, but the energy of it is very youthful and virile and fertile like that. Okay? Creative, Brahma. So don't think about Brahma as an old person, but he deserves respect like an old person. Why is Brahma important? Because imagine how long is Brahma's life? Yugas and yugas, right? We are talking about an unimaginable amount of years, to put it mildly. Such a being exists in that who knows in that entire span of time and space what is being created in the past, now, and in the future, where they'll be created, what is their life, how are they made, how are they dying. Brahma knows all of that for everything, all the time. Okay, that's his job. Now, okay, a lot about Brahma. Now imagine you are like Brahma, because some of that creative energy is in you. So you have some Brahmatva, you have some Brahma Tattva inside you, by which you use to also create things in your life. You can create a painting, you can create food, you can create a child, which is the highest expression of our creation ability. Brahma did the same thing. He suddenly appeared, and there he produced naturally. Now imagine for the first time you get the ability to produce things, to create things. The natural inclination is to create something that uses the maximum amount of your talent to create what is shreshtam, the best quality. So he did the same thing. So imagine if you get the first time you get I don't know, you're an artist and you get like a art set. You'll want to do something really nice with that the first time. What do you think is nice? So Brahma did the same thing. And he created these Sanat Kumaras, these 4 young, youthful sages. Like their father, they're always ever youthful. And also they were enlightened beings. But they looked at Brahma. Brahma said, right now, I'm your father. Go and create on my behalf. Do my bidding. And they looked at him and said, are you joking? We are not here for you. Sorry. We are here to bring the Vedas into manifestation. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. And they left. So Brahmana thought, okay, now I'm angry, right? They are supposed to give me respect. They're the first things I created in all of this creation, in my entire long life. And this is how they treat me. So he got very angry. And out of that anger in him, in the part of the forehead that is here, but I know when you frown and you get angry, that part is called lalate. See, in the nyasa for Rudram, you do that. Lalate, Rudra, Stishtantu, you put the Rudra there. That this being emerged, called Rudra. Well, you didn't call it Rudra then, but this being emerged. Now the creator Brahma looked at what he created. He was in distress himself creating this thing. And he was even more alarmed that this thing just appeared out of him. Because Brahma can create from any pore of his body. And that child looked at Brahma and also started crying. Now this is very bizarre, right? So Brahma then thought to himself, and it's the same problem we get to. There are many instances in life when what we create, we like the Sanat Kumaras, we learn. We learn maybe the hard way. Whatever we create, we don't control. We don't own it. Then Rudra as a child is another lesson of creation, which is what you create may not be what you expected to create. Brahma had the same problem. And he asked this child, why are you crying? Shrieking, why are you shrieking and howling? And Rudra said to him, this child said to him, I do not have a name. So that is Rudra Upadesha 1. The first Rudra Upadesha is, I do not have a name. I do not have a name. If you think about that, what is he actually saying? He's saying many things, right? At a normal person level, I don't have a name, so I'm crying. But he's giving Upadesha to Brahma. I, the sense of self, does not have any name. So anyway, Brahma didn't get the point. He didn't get the higher message. Just like we also don't get the point sometimes. Rudra gave him solution to his problem. The problem is you identifying yourself as I am Brahma. I am the innovator of all. I am the creator of all these things, right? I am so great. But who gave you those names? So he missed the point. And he said, okay, I'll call you Rudra because you're crying. One of the translations of the word Rudra is Rodayati iti Rudra, one who cries. I'm not going to go into the name Rudra because I think there's a lot there. But essentially, that's what's happening. You can think about it. Say Brahma had self-made problem. We also have self-made problem. We are suffering our self-made problem. Brahma is also suffering his self-made problem. And Rudra came and triggered in Brahma for the first time this sense of, hang on a moment. So what is in control actually? What is determining this? Because I'm just creating, but I have no control what's created. It can be mutations, it can be, it's just random creation is happening. Is there a structure and order to that? We don't know. Just like in the beginning of the universe, everything was chaotic. Some order had to come, some ritu. Ritam vadishyami, satyam vadishyami had to come. From where did that come? So then Brahma looked around, he saw he sitting on a lotus. Okay, that's also a metaphor for something. So he saw there's a root and he went looking. He went looking for that root. And then he carried on and he found this big being sitting there, lying down, sleeping, as if sleeping actually. And Brahma said, oh, I must have also created you. I am Brahma. You owe me your respect. See, that ahankara doesn't go. Wrong sense of self-identification. Sometimes we get very caught up with our creations. My child, my car. These are all forms of creations because they take up your prana shakti. I have so many cars. This house is for my son. That I will leave with somebody else. My grandchildren will have it. This land is ours for generations. That is how Brahma talks. And that is also how Brahma suffers. So you must think how much of your problems are Brahma problems. Rudra is a trigger for a solution. Anyway, he gets to see Vishnu, and there's the story that happens over there, right? But the point I'm trying to get to is Rudra triggered Brahma to break that, to first question and actually go on a journey to find this Vishnu. Who is sustaining all this? Where is this order coming from? Many times, you think to yourself, maybe those of you who are older and more mature will have these thoughts, all these issues I have, but yet somehow some things work out. Sometimes even when I don't even think about things. Sometimes when I don't try, things work out better. We need to interrogate those moments. When you are sleeping, you are not actively deciding how your body is functioning and how you're breathing. But there's something that is doing that. It is working chemically and materially through some biological functions, but that is not the cause, that is the effect. So Brahma also went to go look for the cause. Rudra was the trigger. So my first point is, first Rudra point, number one, I do not have a name. That's his solution. That's his whole point. I'm going to hit you and bash you and bring challenges to you until you get the point. Get out of your self-created problems. Number one, Rudra gives you freedom of that. Number two, Rudra's aim is Vishnu. For you, I will say, I thought Rudra was Shiva. If Rudra came from Brahma, how is he Shiva? They're not the same thing. They're not the same mood. Like a father can be angry, a father can be happy, a father can be fierce, a father can be gentle. So they're different names, but it's the same person. Shiva is always worshipping Vishnu. Rama, Rama, Rama. He's always saying. So, even the aim of Rudra is to push everyone to Vishnu. Why? Now let us come to that, how that is happening. In the second mantra of the second Anuvaka, for those of you who are familiar with the Rudra, there's this little portion here that we sort of skip quickly when we read the translation. Trees and birds and animals and, right? When you read the translation of Rudram, you think, what is happening here? Okay, I'm just listing all these created things. Okay, great. So let's go a bit deeper. Namo vrikshebhyo harikeshebhyo, and it carries on, right, in that second mantra. This word harikeshebhya is repeated a lot, quite a few times in the Rudra. Vriksha, well, the translation is prostrations to that Rudra in the form of trees with tufts of green leaves. That's the translation. Now let's go into this a bit more. It's interesting the word hari is here. In the context of plants, hari means green. And kesha means the leaves. We'll talk about that. Vriksha first. Vriksha are those things that are rooted firmly. That are rooted firmly in place. So the translation of vriksha typically means plants, but it can also mean other things. If you think about a plant, the entire life of a plant is Rudra. What is in your control? Like Brahma, was he in control? So the plant, what is the plant in control of? Can it determine how much sunlight it gets? Can it determine where the water will come from tomorrow? Can it determine what the bird sitting on it is going to do next? It is fixed. So we are saying, oh plant, you are showing me Rudra. Your life is Rudra. How are you still going? How are you still growing? Everything around you is challenging. Namo Vrikshebhyo. That Rudra in the plant is that Rudra is not the plant itself. It is Rudra that is being. I'm getting knowledge about Rudra from understanding the plants like this. Then there's Kesha. Kesha means, it means generally hair. It's translated as hair. But it actually means the uppermost growth of something. The uppermost growing part of something. For a human being, it is hair. For a plant, it's the leaves. For a spiritual person, it could mean other things, right? There are higher chakras that also have to open and we have to grow into them in our understanding. So there's a lot you can take from this. So from the root to the leaves, in the middle is Hari. The one that is sustaining that plant. In amongst all this Rudra that is happening is Hari, is Vishnu. And if you look at the sound, Namo Vrikshebhyo Harikeshebhya, that Harikeshebhya part is absolutely steady in the sound when you chant. There's no up and down about it. Namo Vrikshebhyo Harikeshebhya. See, the sound is telling you that is so steady and smooth. That is Hari. So, Rudra is encouraging this process. Rudra makes you look inside and recognize there is something that is sustaining me, yeah? I'm not just creating and enjoying and taking. Indra is the taking part, right? Enjoyment part of the Brahma energy. I'm not only taking and taking and taking from life all the time and enjoying. Sometimes that's not good for me also. So this is also Rudra Upadesha. He is encouraging you to look inside and find how are you being sustained, because he forces you to find that stability, that vriksha. He forces you to find that stability and also then to reach to the sky. So in this part of the Rudram, we look at the plant and say, oh, Rudra. Frustrations. Because I'm getting the knowledge of that. I'm learning from that, right? Rudra. There's another part to this. How is he encouraging Vishnu? How is his aim Vishnu? Here we can look at some of that. In the Panchabrahma mantras, one of them is for Aghora Shiva. Okay? Aghorebhyo taghorebhyo Gora Gora Tarebhyaha Sarvebhyas Sarvebhyo Namaste Rudra Rupebhyaha. There's two things here. Both the calm as well as the fierce, you are both separately and simultaneously Rudra. Everywhere and always I am bowing down to these forms of Rudra, both of them, together all the time. So now you'll say, okay, Rudra is fierce, but also kind. You'll say that's a contradiction. Now understand, again, Rudra. Now, Aghora means that is which is not fierce, not harmful, not angry, not Ghora, which is fierce and terrible. Now think about this. There are two things, right? Rudra is all about staying on the path, being strong on the path. That's how Hanuman is a Rudra Amsha. Shiva doesn't take avatara, he has Amshas. Shiva in Kailash is in meditation all the time, right? He's not coming down for anybody, right? But he comes down through Amshas. So anyway, Aghora. So let's think about this very simply. If you take, what is a kind of person that is, firstly, Ghora, that is like a violent person, okay? Someone who is very reactionary about life. What happens when that person becomes very angry? Like Brahma, when he becomes very angry, what happens? They stop speaking. They can't speak, full of rage. Rudra sits in the Vishuddhi chakra, in the throat chakra, with Kali, or a form of the Divine Mother, to do with your birth. That's why in the Atha Rudram, there was a section where you had to bring pieces of earth. Traditionally, it's from where you were born that soil must be brought, because that is Kali. So they have a connection, the two of them, in the Vishuddhi chakra. So that becomes blocked. But now think about Aghora, someone who is very saintly, very kind, very peaceful, exceedingly sweet-mannered. What happens when they get very angry? They choose not to speak. They become silent. So Rudra from both Ghora and Aghora has given the same result. Now, what does that mean? There are two things we are suffering that lead us off the path. One is Ghora, all the difficulties, all the problems. They can, or us also doing wrong things and straying off the path. But Aghora is also problematic. I can have more good things than I need. I can become distracted by too many good things, too many comforts, too many conveniences. For both of them, they need a corrective measure to bring them back on the path. That is Rudra also. Aghora and Ghora. Rudra Rupebhyaha, two of them, both are Rudra Rupas. If you are having too much, more than you need, you are not on the path of sustainability, which is Hari, Vishnu. If you are doing wrong things also, you are obviously not on the path of Hari or Vishnu. Both of them are not on the path of Hari or Vishnu, which is Rudra's aim. Why? Because in a creation or in a world where resources are limited, if you are hoarding more than you need, that is not Vishnu. That means someone else is having less. Right? So to be on Vishnu's side, why do you need that? Because you need Vishnu to sustain you to the goal of Shiva. From where you are as a jiva, Rudra gives freedom to the jiva. And there's another verse, there's more verses about that in the Aitareya Upanishad and all that. That links to Rudra. Rudra awakens the jiva to become Atma. You have to become Atma. Then you can become Shiva. Jiva, Atmava, Shiva. That's the process. And in the middle, when you're being Atma, when you're not being bound by your embodied state, when you're trying to get freedom from that embodied state of Jiva, you are Atma. And there you need the sustenance of Hari to last you till you get to Shiva. Rudra is the one that can hold that for you, can keep you always on that path. So sometimes if you're doing Rudram, you say, I'm losing things. Yes, maybe you don't need it. Have you ever thought about that? So Rudra won't care. Priority number one, I do not have a name. And the aim is Hari, because the target is Vishnu. The process that's being supported is Hari, like that plant inside. Then you are stable inside. Then you get what you need when you need it. And that is called, and then wanting what you get, wanting what you have is Sri. That is real Lakshmi. Loving the one you are with, wanting what you have. In Yoga Vasishta, Vasishta tells Sri Rama, Anudvega Shriyam Moolam. The root of Sri, which is Lakshmi, is Anudvega, which is you're not hankering after this or that, good or bad things. That steadiness is what Rudra helps you to get. And so you will also get Shri. Okay, bit long. So I don't know what the time is. I'll go through this quickly because of the time. So, okay. Anuvaka, the first mantra. The first mantra is Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya, but that's a big thing. So we'll go to the first technical mantra in the first Anuvaka in the Namakam. The dhyana. Now, there's a dhyana shloka for the mantras in Rudram. What is dhyana shloka? It's a meditation. It's building a picture for you. Before you say the mantra, there's a picture that you have to create in your mind. Why? See, like a sculptor who gets a raw piece of stone, a block of stone, he has to visualize what he's going to sculpt from that. That is dhyana. He has to have a map, a vision of that before he starts chopping away, cutting away at that, chipping away at that. So likewise, the mantra in its raw form is like that uncut block of stone. The dhyana shloka helps you to see that mantra and direct the mind to it so it becomes more effective. Right? Because sculpting something without a plan is a recipe for inefficiency. And Vedas are not about inefficiencies at all. Okay? So the dhyana mantra for the first mantra is this. Akarna krishte dhanushi jvalantim devim mishum bhasvati sandhadanam dhyayen mahesham mahaniya vesham devyayutam yodatanum yuvanam. Having drawn at his ear that empowered glowing arrow with the fiery bow, utterly focused on the target, I meditate on that Mahesha, Shiva, of praiseworthy divine countenance, possessing a warrior-like and youthful body. That is the image to be had. When you draw an arrow to your ear, the hand, what you're doing, the ear, what you're hearing, and the vision, what you're seeing, is all aligned. That focus is the image here. Because when you encounter life's problems, the first thing you need is unity. You need that strength to fight, that focus on the target. So when you encounter life's problems and uncertainty and lack of control in life, you need to find a target to focus on. Then you are following Rudra. Right? Now, with that imagery coming, that this Dhyana Shloka comes from Atri Rishi, we get to the first mantra in the Rudram. Namaste Rudra Manyava Utota Ishave Namaha. Namaste Astu Dhanvane Bahubhyam Utate Namaha. Salutation to your anger, O Rudra. Manyava is anger. Well, and also to your arrow, salutation. Salutation to you, let it be, let all of this be, let it be calm. The bow and the arrow, and also both your hands holding them, all of this salutation. So that is the translation. Rudra, your anger. What is anger? Lack of awareness of self. Anger is a state that is most typified by when you're in that rage and fury, you have no perception of yourself at all. People that come out of that state, it's like they don't understand what happened. That's Manyava. And interestingly, Manyava is in some texts is the first Rudra. The name, there's 11 Rudras. The first one, his name is Manyava. Just like Brahma experienced the first Rudra as Manyava, the anger. So we are saying, Rudra, please let this become my lack of self-awareness, number one. Let it be. Bring it down. Let it just be. See, in the Sanskrit, there's no adjective. Let it be this. Let it be that. It's just saying, let it be. Whatever you decide, let it be that. I'm not even telling you what it must be. You decide and let it be. Okay. The arrow and the bow also. Now we talk about the weapons that he's using. From the person, the anger, the state of awareness, we're talking about the tools to fight, the tools to approach uncertainty and lack of control in life, the weapons. But I should have tools, yeah? Why have they become weapons? Please calm them, let them be, so I know how to use them as tools. This problem that's making me pick up a weapon, let it also help me to pick up a tool. Let it be. Right? Bow and arrow can also be looked at as body and mind, cause and effect. There's many ways in the commentaries you can go on and on thinking about bow and arrow. Okay. Then bahu bhyam uta, also the two hands. Now, why must you say also the two hands? See, bow and arrow is cause and effect. So that is you telling Rudra, I don't have a correct sense of how things have happened, where and why this has come about. That is really troubling me. That keeps the arrow of the mind keep thinking and going in all kinds of directions, and it gets scattered. Let that be. The hands, I have a wrong sense of doership. I'm not doing things with the right attitude. Maybe that's also a problem. Please bring that down. Let that also be. Namaste Rudra Manyava Uto Ta Ishave Namaha. Namaste Astu Dhanvane Bahubhyam Utate Namaha. That's the first mantra. It's not Dhyana Shloka, it's mantra. That's the area on the slide. So last thing I'll talk about, Namakam and Chamakam. You're saying, wow, that's the last thing. It's the hugest, the biggest thing to talk about. So like this, in Rudram, every mantra can be, we went through it quickly, but you can go through it also very slowly, excruciatingly slowly, right? They have complex commentaries, right? But I think that's practical. If you think when you start looking at a problem, that's what you need. That first mantra is all that you need to go to the next thing, to get up and go. Now, Namakam and Chamakam. Right. There are two paths to Rudra. Like, remember, Rudras, Aghora and Ghora. Remember? Rudra Rupebhya. Two of them. One is Ghora. Oh, okay, I don't like. You are taking things from me. Like Rudra said in the beginning to Brahma, I do not have a name. Nama, 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 not me, not me, not me. This is not me. That is not me. That is also not me. Nama, 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 Nama. Namakam is all about reduction. Namakam is reducing wrong identification all the way until you get to nothing else but that Shiva. Then all you have to do is join that Nama and find a connection to Shiva. So what is that? Nama Shivaya. That is what the Rudram, it takes you to that. The Namakam takes you through that. You are saying all these Rudras, all these horrible things, all these plants and animals. Yeah, not me, not me, not me, not me, not me. Right? It's a spiritual process, Namakam, all the way to Shiva in the Namakam. Then, once you have found Shiva, you have Namakam. You have Chamakam, sorry. Chama, Chama, Chama. In the Sanskrit grammar, it becomes Chame. But it's Chama, 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 and me. Now, the Rajasic interpretation is, oh, I want these things. I'm requesting these things. Please kindly give me these things. That's a worldly way of looking at Chamakam. But the bhakta or the spiritual person says, oh, after finding Shiva, after Namakam, now I really have things. Because I have car, I have house, I have beauty, I have blessings with Shiva. Because who is and me? Shiva and me. Chama, Chama, Chama with Shiva. Shiva and me again and again. Whether I have something, this is coming to me, that is coming to me, I'm always remembering Chama, Chama, and Shiva and Shiva. He's with me, and me, and me, and me the whole time. That is real strength. Not having things. So, like this, in past, I had things were taken away from me. Right now, things I don't have, I lack things. In the future, I'm also not going to have some things. All of that is Namakam. All of that is Namakam. Then after I go through all of that and I let that go to Shiva, I can properly identify with the Jyoti Linga. I can see the light. I can see the point. I can see myself and identify with what is true. That is Shiva, Namah Shivaya. Then I have to come back. In the past, I got things. Oh, who was with me? Now I'm getting things. And in the future, I'll always will get things. But I'm going to go forward with that Shiva. You can also interpret this as Shiva is that which is not affected by both Namakam or Chamakam. That is a sannyasi way of looking at this. So it's very interesting. Things are going away from me. Namakam. Nama, Nama, Nama. Things are adding to me. Chama, Chama, Chama. But Shiva is not affected by that. Rudra helps you. This whole process is Rudram. And Vishnu sustains it. So very interesting. Sri Ramana Maharishi, he said, let what comes come. Chamakam. Let what goes go. Namakam. What is left? Find out what remains. That is Shiva. And that in essence is a way to look at Rudra. I will just do Shanti Mantra and then we can take questions, I think. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Gurubhyo Namah Hari Om. Thank you.
Sairam, brother. Wow. Thank you so much for that beautiful exploration and expression and the way you captured through the stories of the Mansaputra Sanakumaras and the incredible aspect of how Rudra was brought in was magnificent. I also loved the Namakam Chamakam and how first going through Namakam puts us in a state of detachment, and then we move on to Chamakam and we kind of understanding that we should ask from God not what we want but what we need to reach this goal of life. And one quote that came to mind from Bhagwan Baba was, "Man minus desire is God." And I think you've summed that up beautifully this evening, to let go and let God. The question I would have for you is, currently it's also the Cricket World Cup happening, but I hope it's not a googly or a yorker in any way.
It's fine. It's
So
okay with you.
how do we bring this aspect of detachment into our lives from the teachings of the Rudra? So every day, there is, of course, we think that we've come to a level of spirituality, and then suddenly the new iPhone is launched, and
Yeah.
that desire is there. But as you mentioned, that when you have Shiva with you, or the essence of consciousness, um, whatever comes our way, whatever leaves our path as well, we're kind of in that state of equanimity, I would imagine, if we can find that consciousness within us. But how do we really invite that consciousness each and every day?
Mm, mm, mm. So the answer is also in Rudra Upadesha. So Hari is the key. The aim of Rudra is Hari. Last year, when you launch that arrow, he is full of vigor launching that arrow. What does that mean? It doesn't mean the aim of the arrow is to reach the target. That's what you're asking me. How do we
Yeah.
keep the arrow straight to reach that target? That means Rudra gives the energy so that the arrow has enough power to go the distance, right?
Mm.
So when the arrow is in hand, it is Jiva. When the arrow is the embodied soul, caught up in all these things. When Rudra lets the arrow go, when it's ready, it is Atma. Now you're aiming for moksha, you're aiming for freedom as Atma. And he gives that Atma the energy and the drive and the willpower to last the distance all the way to Shiva. When he gets to the destination, it becomes Paramatma. However, the whole sustenance factor, the principle of sustenance, is in the Anahata. See, Rudra is in the Vishuddhi. In the heart is where the Vishnu Avatara is sitting. That is your Hari. Every one of us has it. That is helping to maintain us. It's not just, oh, Vishnu Avatara. Anything you need stability in, it is that Hari. And I always think about that plant from root to the leaf, right? From beginning of something to the destination of something, right? That Rudra is telling me, always reminding me, maybe by negative motivation sometimes, to look and connect to that Hari, because that is the basis of stability in any sadhana. You can't have stability in the sadhana and continuity in the sadhana without that blessing of Sri or Hari. So for me, that is the answer, and it comes from Rudra Upadesha.
Wow,
That
beautiful.
as much as you are chanting Rudram, you must understand that the aim is to not have more than I need, to accept that, to not go down, to not lower myself either, and therefore assist in this collective effort of Vishnu that is sustaining this world in peace and harmony. And that your own sadhana will become stable, and the mantras will also sit nicely with you.
Beautifully expressed, brother. Thank you so much. Um,
Yeah.
I don't think any questions came through. I think you were able to answer the questions in the session that the devotees would have had in their hearts. But I think that also it was just the tip of the iceberg, or the tip of Kailasha. We've got so much more to share with us. We should definitely have
Yeah.
follow-up sessions and episodes and satsangs.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I'm so glad you're facilitating this, and thank you for taking that mandate up. It's about time. As a community, we have the Vedas restored. It's our strength. We need to start believing and acting like that. Yeah.
Thank you, brother. And you touched on the plant and the sapling so much. And I think these sessions and any Vedas we learn and yearn and churn and share, it's just about planting that seed of the Veda in all the hearts, and may it grow and eventually may a forest of positive energy be part of this earth for generations to come. So on
Yes,
that note,
definitely.
perhaps we can just conclude with a chant for universal peace and happiness. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahishaah Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Samasta Lokaah Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Lokaah Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Lokaah Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Bolo Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba Ji ki Jai.